Lombok, home to a beautiful coral reef and unique Indonesian culture, with great places to swim and snorkel, and the opportunity to look from several perspectives and make an informed conclusion. Beautiful diversity of corals can be seen near the coasts of Lombok. But did you know Lombok is one of the world's biggest exporters of shark fins? Before we start lashing out at the fishermen, let us first introduce the main occupation involved in affecting the marine biodiversity. There are three main groups of people: the fishermen, who are the ones with usually lesser income and depend on shark fishing to support their families. There are also the students, who are the children of the fishermen. They would most probably grow up to become shark fishermen too, unless we do something to educate them. They are the marine conservationists who sacrificed their previous jobs to do their part in keeping our planet healthy. Now, let us dive into the fishermen's jobs and find out why they fish sharks.
Topic, right? Is catching fish and sharks enough to sustain a family?
Really now, shark fishery is not enough to give the family money. Not enough money.
So now they need
The fishermen not only catch the shark, they also catch like skip, coral fish like snapper and grouper, and also the skipjack. So not only catch the shark. Because if they only catch the shark, it's not enough money. The operational cost to catch the shark is high.
okay. The second question is do you think it's worth it to catch sharks?
Hmm, I think must be both.
Both.
Because yeah, if we just only one fisheries industry, that depends the season. So when the bad season for one species of industry, they can catch another fish. Something like so now is the season for squid. So all of the fishermen catch squid. I still enjoy the enjoyment. July, August is the season for shark, and people and fishermen catch shark.
So usually what period do you like the best?
Best one is the managed fisheries.
The what?
Managed fisheries.
Managed fishery.
Yeah, they can catch shark, but still thinking about how to protect the shark. So not overfishing, not over exploitation. That's the best one.
That's the best organization.
This is the life of a shark fisherman in Tanjung Lua Fish Market. For the fish, the fishermen preserve them and sell them elsewhere. As for the sharks, it is auctioned off and its fins cut off and the rest of the body dissected to sell away. So, why do fishermen still have to catch so many sharks and other fishes to support their families? Shark fin soups are very costly. So, why are the fishermen still struggling to have enough cash? This is because fishermen are the only one who are doing the tedious work, traveling long distances at sea for a few weeks at a time, and catching only a few sharks. The sharks are then sold fairly cheaply to the middlemen, who sell it at high prices to restaurants and hotels. So the fishermen are the only ones who are poor and profit the least from this trade. But due to overfishing of sharks are getting harder to catch. Thus, the fishermen are resorting to desperate measures such as bottom trawling. Bottom trawling is an industrial fishing method where a large net with heavy weights is dragged across the seafloor, scooping up everything in its path, from the targeted fish to accidentally catching century-old corals. Sharks are also essential in keeping a balanced ecosystem. As apex predators, Sharks play an important role in the ecosystem by maintaining the species below them in the food chain and serving as an indicator of ocean health. They help remove the weak and the sick, as well as keeping the balance with competitors, helping to ensure species diversity. But catching sharks are the fishermen's jobs. If we stop them from catching sharks, how can they support the family? Corals are marine invertebrates that inhabit mutualistic relationships between polyps and zooxanthellae, an algae that can photosynthesize and provide food for the polyps, while the polyps give off carbon dioxide and water during cellular respiration. Corals are made from tiny polyps, and its exoskeleton is made from calcium carbonate, which is white in color. Water temperatures can stress coral polyps, causing them to lose algae that live in the polyp's tissues. This results in coral bleaching, so called, because the algae give corals their color, and when the algae jump ship, the coral turns completely white. Corals provide up to 80% of the oxygen. Trolling, sea currents, high unstable temperatures, and pollution harm corals. Microalgae and parrotfish balance the ecosystem by feeding on the coral reefs. Thus, it is very important for them to be in the marine biodiversity. Even though this may not be the best of methods, it is one step closer to closing down the shark fishing industry. Another method will be reducing the demand for shark fin soup. Moving on, how can we ensure the sustainability of the corals? Biorocks is one of the methods to solve this problem. Biorocks are artificial coral reefs that are built from a range of materials. We built a biorock with steel cables and chicken wire. It uses electrolysis and a series of reactions to cause calcium carbonate to spawn on the biorock without any oxidation and without any rust. Attaching loose pieces of coral to the biorock, corals can grow into a colony in a few decades. The calcium carbonate causes the corals to grow 2 to 6 times faster. But of course, prevention is always better than cure. Thus, it is important to educate the children of fishermen of Lombok about marine conservation. They are usually poor, and when their parents bring in the sharks, they know it is a good thing as money will follow. Thus, they are brought up with a mentality that shark fishing is their only way of getting money. As they observe that the sea is huge, and the amount of sharks their parents bring back each trip is a lot. Therefore, most of them think that the amount of sharks in the sea is unlimited. Thus, they do not believe that marine conservation is necessary. Nevertheless, we should try our best to educate them and make sure they understand the severity of marine conservation. All in all, we all play a role in ensuring marine conservation. So let us all work together to achieve our goal of a healthy planet. Thank you.
After this trip, I have learned that the fisherman's life is actually very tough, even though they fish sharks. Thus, it's really hard to think of alternative jobs for them that will bring them enough income to support their families. Also, convincing them to change jobs is hard. I have learned why marine conservationists work so hard to convince shark fishermen to find alternative jobs, which is because their actions are destroying the ecosystem of the sea. I've also learned the importance of marine conservation through the teachers that accompanied us on the trip and the various full-time marine conservationists that presented to us. Thus, in the future, I will think twice about my needs versus want to ensure that I do my part in marine conservation and not result in wastage.
After watching and witnessing the lifestyle of fishermen in Tanjung Loa, I realized the gravity of the shark situation in Lombok. On the first trip to the fish market, we didn't know whether it was a good thing or a bad thing that they only caught one tiny shark. On the fourth day, we revisited Tanjung Loa fish market and we were shocked to find out that up to 50 sharks were being skinned and finned. They gathered the fins and piled them up, left the skin of the shark on the landing site to dry. We revisited the students, conservationists, and fishermen, thus we could make an informed decision from their perspectives. During the Miss Delphine talk on Wednesday, I learned more about the corals and why they were important to the entire planet. So from this trip, I felt more encouraged to do my part to conserve the environment. Thank you.
As much as we try to save the sharks, we have to care for the fishermen's livelihood too, as apparently shark fishing doesn't bring much money, as the middleman earns most of the money. This is to such an extent that catching normal fishes earns as much profit as catching sharks, as said by a local wildlife conservationist. Thus, in my personal opinion, if we give the fishermen alternatives like ecotourism and catching alternatives to sharks, it will benefit everyone. Also, if we expect people like the fishermen to save the environment, we should set a good example too. For example, try not to use wet wipes as they biodegrade very slowly. Instead, use a normal tissue and wet it. These small actions, when done by everyone, will also have a big impact in the protection of our planet.